The first cases of the coronavirus were said to have emerged in China in early December, yet officials did not warn the World Health Organization until after December 31st about its dangers. On Monday alone, over 400 new cases were reported, bringing the global total to over 77,000. Additionally, the White House is seeking $2.5 billion in funding from Congress to fight the spread of the virus. Joining us to discuss more is Senior Policy Director for America First Policies and former Trump administration official Curtis Ellis. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Many speculate that Chinese officials neglected to stop the spread of the virus before it got out of hand. Why didn't officials take action swiftly in those crucial first days that the coronavirus began to spread?
Well, that's a dictatorship over there in China. They don't have transparency. They never tell you what's going on because they don't have to worry about a free press or an election to hold them accountable. And the local officials were afraid of reporting bad news to Beijing because they felt they'd be held responsible. We've seen what happened after this outbreak took root. It shut down the economy of China. So the local officials did not want to be the bearers of bad news that would then be held to their responsibility. It's just a terrible system over there.
Mm-hmm. And we know that there was that whistleblower who has since died from the coronavirus who attempted to warn officials about this. But let me ask you this. Officials here in the U.S. have expressed concern about the coronavirus. And as we mentioned, the Trump administration is asking for $2.5 billion to combat the virus. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling the move inadequate. Is the Trump administration taking the right actions to combat the spread of the virus?
President Trump has taken the right action all along when it comes to China, before and after the coronavirus outbreak. We saw him put very, very strict travel restrictions on people coming from China. He was criticized for doing that. He didn't wait for the World Health Organization, which is now a wholly owned subsidiary of the Chinese Communist Party, to declare a global health emergency before he acted. And now with this $2.5 billion supplemental funding package, we will be able to start developing treatments and preparedness. And that's the crucial thing, is making sure that our hospitals, our medical personnel are equipped to deal with anything that could happen. And you see right now we have these global supply chains, which is a fancy way of saying factories in China. And China has effectively nationalized American factories in China that make protective face masks, that make the gloves, that make the protective gear that our medical personnel would need if there is a serious outbreak here. China is telling those American companies they cannot export those face masks and that gear to the United States because they want to keep them all themselves. They've effectively nationalized American companies. This $2.5 billion will start the process of making sure we have the gear we need, that we can get it and have it.
And of course, that is such a big issue. Let me ask you this. Chris Meekins, a former Trump administration Health and Human Services emergency preparedness official, stated that the biggest current threat to the president's re-election is this thing, the coronavirus, getting out of control and creating a health and economic impact. We know it's been affecting the stock market, but how much can this impact the president's re-election campaign as we inch closer to November?
The president has put in place the greatest economy we've seen in decades. And he said a long time ago, he told American companies, get out of China. He did a tweet. He ordered American companies to move out of China. The problem, the danger that people are seeing of a possible economic fallout is the fact that China's economy is shut down. And now we're seeing China effectively nationalizing American companies taking over American companies in China. I'll tell you what, if American companies had listened to President Trump 2 years ago when he put tariffs in place against China, and when he told American companies, you ought to start looking someplace else to be making your stuff, if they had taken his word 2 years ago, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. America's economy is strong. We are not dependent on China to the degree that other economies are. So we're in good shape here, and the companies that did not listen to President Trump 2 years ago, they're thinking, I wish I had.
Absolutely. We know that was a really big part of his campaign going into the 2016 election, and he is continuing that to make sure that the American companies come back here to produce their products. So we'll have to see what happens then. Curtis Ellis, thank you so much again.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.